What is up, everybody? Well, it's been a little bit since I did a video, but finally got done with tillage and cleaning some stuff up to put it away, and I am now back working on this thing. Okay, anybody that doesn't know the story on this 4020, there's a playlist. Just watch the other videos and that'll bring you up to speed here. But got the cylinder head back. That was a complete mess. The machine shop that I had redo that head, 10 years ago when this tractor was put together and then parked. I don't know if they were just having a bad week or what, because they've been around forever and this was bad. The valves, the seats weren't cut right, the valves weren't sealing. You could see, if you took a flashlight with the head off and stuck it, like in the combustion chamber, you could look through the ports and see daylight. So that's why it had the extra little mist to it. It was sucking exhaust into the intake. It had to be completely disassembled and gone through. Thank you, Jeff, for doing that for me. I did not even call that machine shop because, number one, it was 10 years ago. Didn't feel like hearing, all the excuses, so didn't even bother. I think the reason why that head gasket started seeping is I don't think it ever bonded. Like, it never had enough heat cycles to get it bonded to the block or the head, because it just peeled right off when I took the head off. Like, nothing stuck to the head or the block, and the bolts felt kind of funky whenever I loosened them. They didn't seem as tight as they should have been. So I think that gasket maybe just shrunk or never adhered, whatever. But I've gotten every 4020 expert in the freaking world telling me everything and then some. But block is straight. I checked it with straight edge. I went through, ran a tap through all of the head bolt holes. Then I took and vacuumed the head bolt holes, and I cleaned the whole surface and used compressed air to blow all the threads out. Went through and checked protrusion. I called it standout in one of my other overhaul videos, and somebody said protrusion is the term. Protrusion, I went and checked that in several spots on every single one of them. The book states let's see, it should be from 1,000th to 4,000th higher than the cylinder block. 1 to 4. Every one of them is perfect. All right, so here we're off of it. We're on it. So right at 3. They were most all of them were right at 3. 2 to 3. So that's all good. It's all cleaned up. Gonna unwrap that and make sure it's all cleaned up underneath. When it was on the dyno and we were trying to get that, figure out if the miss was in the timing or what, I had turned the pump a little to see if it would change anything. So we're at, I don't know if you can see it, but we're at top dead center, there to there. Then you take this cover off, and it's very hard to see. I don't even know if it'll show up on the camera, but try to hold this and do this at the same time. So you got this line right here, and the other one is right there. So it needs to, the pump needs to turn. Just got to loosen it up, and I bet when I turn it back to where it was originally, that's going to be perfectly lined up. So we'll turn that back. Put a new oil filter in it. Got a new second round of John Deere break-in oil to put in it. I'm sure I'll get all kinds of input on this, but I'm spraying the head gasket with this. I've done it many times in the past. I'm just doing it. Can't hurt anything. So I'll set you guys up once I slap this head on here, and we'll go from here. What's up, y'all? It's the next day. So I got the head back on it yesterday, water pump back on it, valve train back in it. I just went through and set all the valves for number 1 top dead center, 18 thousandths. I just mark all of them, and then when I have them set, I paint mark that I've already done them. So then spin it over a full revolution, and it'll be on top dead center 6, and you'll do all the rest of them. Says you can set them hot or cold. 18 on the intake and the exhaust. All right, guys. I haven't been recording all of the rest of this because I've spent the day slopping around in the mud, loading semis with soybeans out of the bin, and about the time I get back from loading the truck, I have about enough time to get going working on this, and then driver calls and says they're about back again. So I got all the thermostat housings back on, all the injectors, injector lines, the alternator, intake manifold. Now we just got to put the exhaust manifold on. That and prime up the fuel system, and hopefully she will run correctly. So when this thing was on the dyno and everything started going bad, the head gasket was seeping in the back, and I couldn't really find much reason for that other than my theory that it never had any heat cycles and sat for 10 years and the gasket just never bonded. But when I was torquing it down, I kind of had a oh crap moment, because I was reading the torque sequence and the torque spec, and then it said that the head bolts must be retorqued with the engine hot, and That never happened. This tractor, when I got it running, I knew it was going to have to be torn back down to sandblast and paint. So when I got it running, like, it didn't have batteries on it or anything, I just took the jumper or booster pack on the starter to get it started. It didn't have any wiring or anything, and I just checked oil pressure. It seemed all right, and then it just went to Never Never Land, got parked in the cold storage, and that may have something to do with it, because that was one hell of a heat cycle on the dyno. And I said them bolts didn't feel super tight when I took them loose, so this time we're gonna run it, get it up to temp, make sure everything is good, and then we will do a hot retorque on the head. I just filled it back up with water only. Ah, you bastard. Water only till I know everything's good. And then we'll drain that out and put coolant in it. Man, this one's being a pain. Come on. Oh, you're gonna be one of them. There. I got the injection pump timed up the way it's supposed to be. Got the batteries hooked up. I think right now, while I'm tightening this up, I'm going to throw you into a clip of me playing in the mud today, loading soybeans. So I'll see you in a minute.
This grain bin didn't have an unload motor. Actually, the auger that goes in there was laying behind the bin. Me and Jason screwed the auger back in, and I am no electrician, but I got that motor on Amazon. Got that starter on Amazon. Made that bracket. Yeah, baby. I know they're not made to be out in the rain. That's why I put a plug on the box, so I can just take it off when I'm done. Injectors are all good, no leaks. Sweet old tractor. Even the auger sounds a whole lot better than it did when I was loading this bin. It's amazing what bearings actually being on the shaft will do for it. It never fails. Whenever I have grain contracted, it's right when the weather turns to crap. Been slopping this stuff out of here all day. Loading the truck on the road. Sold for November, and next week's Thanksgiving, so that screws up next week, so. Oh well. It is what it is. Glad I hadn't washed up the Steiger or the grain cart yet. It's worked out pretty good.
Welcome back. Kind of a muddy mess, wasn't it? That 190 XT is running beautifully. I have decided on the cab on that thing, as long as I can find, and if anybody has any factory fenders, 4 light fenders for a Series 3 190, if I can get my hands on them, that cab is gonna come off. I just want it to be cabless. Okay. It would be really nice to be able to put all the tin work back on this thing, get all the new lights put in, and put it on auction time. That would be really, really nice. The 4440 is on auction time right now, but it doesn't sell till, I believe, December 11th. But I will do a video here soon explaining how you can get registered to bid and figure out how auction time works, and I'll give the lot number, and any one of you could have the ability to own it. That 4440 is a sweet tractor, but I can't keep them all. Can't believe it's already going to be Thanksgiving next week. It's deer season this weekend, firearm season here in Illinois. Today's Friday. I was obviously working all day today, but me and Mrs. G are going to go sit in the deer blind all day tomorrow. Wish us luck. That's hooked up. That's good. There's coolant in it. The fuel's turned on. Or not coolant, water in it. Batteries are hooked up. Let's move over to this side. These stupid little spring clips on these return lines. This back one, I just about lost my crap. Trying to get that one on, it just kept coming off the pliers. Man, I hate them things. Well, great. Nothing like a arm soaked in diesel fuel. Well, what do you think? Should we try it? If she goes bad this time, I am pretty certain this thing's going to get buried in the ground somewhere. Here goes nothing. Oh, it runs. I need to turn the idle up a little bit. I'm going to open up a door because it's kind of smoky in here, but it runs. I'm going to, it's Friday night. I'm going to go in the house, have some dinner and a beverage, and then tomorrow, in between hunting, if I have time, we will take her outside, let it get good and warmed up, and make sure everything's good, and do a hot retorque on the head bolts. So stay tuned.
Fitting on the oil cooler is leaking, and that back return line is dripping. Still has a little bark to it, but it's up to temp right now. Doesn't have any blow-by. I'll get it back in the shop here. We'll retorque that head.
Okay, it's in here. It's hot. Gonna do the retorque. I'm gonna pop the rockers back out to get to the bolts down there. I'm gonna have to work fairly fast here. So let's just see on one of these that's easy to get to how much it moves after the engine got hot. Ready? Oh, that's quite a bit. Wow. Yeah, it definitely tightened up. Huh. Well, that may explain why the head gasket was weeping on the dyno, but I gotta adjust the low idle. I gotta screw with this returns leaking, and this where this thing goes into the oil cooler is leaking. I gotta take that apart, but next video on this thing, I'm gonna start putting it back together. I think it's all good, but get all the tin work and everything put back on it, and here in another week or so, I've got I don't know, like 12 semi-loads of corn to unload out of a bin. And I'll probably throw this thing on the auger and let her eat, make sure everything's all good. Before I pulled the rockers out, I spun the engine around on top dead center and 1 and 6 and rechecked all the valve lash, and I had to readjust about half of them. They were tight, so that's all good now. And then I pulled them out, pulled the rockers off. I know somebody's going to say in the comments, there's a John Deere tool that, yeah, I don't have it. Some of these head bolts, they turned quite a ways to get back up to the torque spec. So I'm thinking maybe that had something to do with it on the last go around of never retorquing them things down, since it sat forever and forgot about it. But I'm gonna put rockers back in it. I'm gonna drain the water out of it and fix this leak, get coolant put in it. I'm gonna go back and check timing on that pump one more time too. But next video of this, hopefully we'll have tin work back on it and be running an auger. Okay, me and the lovely Mrs. G have not had any luck so far deer hunting, but we're just happy to be out here relaxing and chilling out. I'll see our view. We've seen some deer, but none near us.
Bastards.
It's nice and warm in here with our,
I could go to sleep.
with our heater. But all right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.